trying to spread it out as much as I can. It's just a bit of a,
you guys
like
are doing amazingly. I mean, between the two of you to have 4 at 30 is pretty damn amazing.
Yeah, it's definitely come a long way since I first had an initial meeting with Jason. It's pretty incredible because like I do like to keep little spreadsheets and stuff, and I look back on it and go, oh wow, like no, that's really good. So
you're listening to Property Investor Tales, stories from the front yard. Here's your host, Tabitha Bright.
Hello and welcome to Property Investor Tales, stories from the front yard, where I get to speak to property investors from around Australia about their investing journey. My name's Tabitha Bright and I'm the head of coaching here at Positive Real Estate, where we help people build wealth through property. With over 8,000 clients across Australia and New Zealand, there are some incredible stories to tell, which hopefully make your investing journey that little bit easier and will inspire you along the way. So my guest today is Joel Karangis, and we discuss how he and his new fiance, Carla, acquired 4 properties by the time they were 30. How you buy well and never sell, unless, of course, it's strategic, and dealing with outrageous valuations with little buffer while settling a property. Yes, it has a happy ending, but it was certainly hair-raising for Joel and Carla. So enjoy this conversation with Joel. Hey everybody, Tabitha here again. Now I have with me the fabulous Joel today, being interviewed in the hot seat. My latest victim for the podcast, I call them. So welcome to the podcast, Joel. Good to have you here.
Hi Tab, how are you? Thanks for having me.
Oh no, thank you so much. It's really appreciated, and it's really interesting getting, as much as it sounds like a cliche, it's actually not. Getting to talk to so many different people across all walks of life across Australia, which is a Kiwi for me, I find absolutely fascinating. You Aussies are an interesting bunch, to say the least. I'm sure you'd say the same about the Kiwis.
Yeah.
Did you grow up? Where did you grow up? Queensland?
Yeah, born in Brisbane, but Gold Coast mainly. Sunny Gold Coast. Don't really stem too far from there.
Fantastic. I did read a thing once that most people die 10 kilometers from where they were born. And ever since I read that, I was like, nah, not going to do that. And I shipped myself off to Australia. So it's probably the next best thing, right? If you're not going to die within your city parameters, your city limits, I guess you just go to Australia if you're a Kiwi. So I don't think I've done anything that exciting, other than, of course, beautiful country, beautiful people. So first of all, tell me a little bit about yourself. You're recently engaged. That's a bit exciting.
Yeah, recently engaged to my fiance Carla. Some of you may have met her, but yeah, already jumped in, planned the wedding for next year. So
that's
straight,
fantastic.
yeah. So feels like it's all happening, and
lovely.
Yeah.
How did you guys meet?
Just at a New Year's party about just over 4 years ago. So yeah, it's time to get down on one knee and drop the question. And
you did?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So
is Carla there?
Yeah, she is. She's
just, I think drag her in and say hi.
Yeah. Carla.
You may not want to.
Hi.
Hey, lovely.
And our dog. I was keeping him quiet.
Oh, lovely to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, Tab. Well, I've seen you lots on the webinars. We watch them every week.
Oh no, it's lovely to see you both. It's always this is romance with Positive Real Estate. Stuff property.
Totally. What do you want to know? No, I'm kidding. I'm going to give this back to Joel and you can hear his story.
Oh, lovely to meet you. Oh, that's very cute. And so you've got the Labradoodle Chino?
Yeah, Chino and Carla.
Oh, well, it sounds like you're a ready-made family. And speaking of families, tell me about your family, because you were born, like I was born in a family of 4. You had how many siblings?
There's 10 of us. Yeah, all from the same mum. So
10.
Yeah, it's pretty big pretty big number.
Massive. It's massive. I don't think there's
Yeah.
many families today that would do 10. Like, I mean, you couldn't fit in one car. That's where my mind goes immediately.
Yeah. No, it's definitely like I said before, a scrap for the last bit of pizza. So, but yeah, we all got things in common and we gel really well together. So that's a plus. Yeah.
Fabulous. My father used to be the worst with fish and chips. Fish and chips, I think that's maybe more a Kiwi thing, maybe. I don't know, maybe it's not with Aussies, but rather than pizza. But he used to be so quick with the fish and chips. We used to get very upset with him. And so tell me a little bit about your property experience prior to PRE, because you're 30 years old today.
Yeah.
Or around that space. And you bought your first property when you were how old?
When I was 25. So I always
5 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, always wanted my own place, I think, like everyone else, and was pretty unsure at the time and didn't really want to overextend myself. So just locked in a 1-bedroom apartment in a place I really liked to live at the time, which was Mermaid Beach.
Oh, yeah,
and still currently living here now. So yeah.
Oh, fantastic. So you have the PPR in Mermaid Beach in Gold Coast?
Yep.
Mermaid Beach, Gold Coast. And are you guys doing anything with that? You're going to do a bit of a reno on it, or you have done a reno?
It's pretty like up to scratch with it doesn't really need any more renovations.
That's awesome.
I don't think I'll really do too much. If anything, I probably will look at selling it, just because Carla and her sister actually got into a deal down in Palm Beach, Hemingway, and we've also locked in a 2-bedroom contract with the Sierra Group in Chevron Island. So I don't really want to have too many eggs in one basket. And when I bought this place, I didn't really have the right team around me and stuff, and just just invest my capital into, diversify my portfolio a bit, like I've been doing. So
I understand. And so sometimes Jason will always say, buy well, never sell, unless you choose to sell strategically.
Yeah, Andy definitely got him on that one, didn't he?
So obviously you've got a number of other options in a similar vicinity. So, and are better quality options, I would be assuming, 2 bedrooms. And so that will allow you better capital growth in the long term. So you're going to shift the one that you've got now. And what will you do with that? Will you pay down some debt? Will you?
Yeah, I think, it's just more of like a PPR upgrade in between. And obviously Carla was eligible for the first homeowners grant. So we sort of took that on board with Hemingway. With her, she wanted to reinvest her gains, which she had made from selling her Canberra property. So
gotcha.
So just basically we're just outgrowing a 1-bedroom apartment and sort of need to upgrade to continue to move on. So that's just where we're at with that. Yeah.
Gosh. And so between the two of you, because I'm losing count, how many properties will you have then? You'll sell Mermaid Beach, but you'll have...
If I sell Mermaid Beach to upgrade to Chevron, there should be 4 between us. Yeah. Oh. So they'll be, because Canberra Black Diamond, I took that on. That should be settling in about start of October.
Yeah, shortly. Yeah.
So I've got that, and then also jumped into the Brunswick West deal on at the Grove. The Grove.
Oh, the Grove.
Yeah, by Blue Earth. Yeah, so jumped into that. So definitely trying to spread it out as much as I can. It's just a bit of a
You guys are doing amazingly. I mean, between the two of you to have 4 at 30 is pretty damn amazing.
Yeah, it's definitely come a long way since I first had an initial meeting with Jason. It's pretty incredible, because I do like to keep little spreadsheets and stuff, and I look back on it and go, oh wow, that's really good. So well,
Jason and one of our coaches who is really, really adept at spreadsheets. I think you'd love her. Her name's Karen Chavez.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Karen and Jason are at the moment, this is news, putting together like a super duper version of the property analyzer calculator.
Yeah.
And yeah, have you seen it? It's a new one.
I just heard you, I think you guys mentioned it last night on the webinar, saying that Jason was going to run through the new analyzer.
Yes, that's on Friday.
So that'll be really good. Yeah.
yeah, they've done an amazing job. I said to Karen, I'll just send it to me before you send it to Jason for approval, so I can have a quick squiz and make any changes before he goes nuts. And I looked at it, and I must admit, my eyes, we all have different zones of genius. Mine is not spreadsheets.
Yeah.
I looked at this, I was like, I'll let these two do this. As long as I can use it and it gets me pushes out the button at the end with the right number, I'm happy as Larry. But, I hate working that stuff out. So those two are absolute geniuses. Sounds like you could be in that space. And so your friends and family get pretty sick about talking about real estate, I believe.
Yeah, I think I just basically reiterate everything that gets sort of taught to me from all the podcasts I listen to from Sam and the wealth chats from Jason. I really love absorbing all the information they offer. It's really,
really good. And so who's your favourite, Jason or Sam? Can I put you on the spot?
Oh, come on, can't.
I won't do that to you. It's all right. I just couldn't resist. That was mean. I won't do that to you. But it was still worth it. If you'd said something, I would have gone back to one of them.
Yeah. Jason would have called me up.
Jason probably would have, You would have been safer probably saying Jason, but Sam would have taken it far more to heart, bless him. He wears his heart on his sleeve. And so there's been a couple of lessons along the way for you. One of those is no doesn't mean no. So tell me about that.
I guess even just running back a couple of years when I was first considering taking on this Black Diamond deal, I had enough of the FIFO industry. I'd been in it for 6 years and I really wanted to get back home. I pulled the pin in the middle of COVID and people were basically saying, this is the worst time to be leaving your job. And I come back home, landed into a full-time job, found my feet. And it wasn't before long I landed in the Black Diamond deal and decided I can make this work. But at the time, I guess it was a little bit confronting, to have your broker at the time saying sending you emails saying unfortunately, this is not really feasible. But I guess the pro with off the plan is it gives you time and things change over time. And as scary as it was back then, I just knew that I could make it work. And initially I started up a little side business and was running around mowing 6 lawns a day after I'd finished a 10-hour shift at work. And
oh my gosh,
I ended up speaking to Jason and Megan, and I was like, I'm just getting too busy. I need to slow everything down and just find my roots again. And just worked on getting a pay rise at work, and the market shifted, and now everything seems to be fine. So basically pre-approved, conditional to valuation. So it's basically should all be good, but there's always a few little sneaky speed bumps in the way, I guess.
There are. I mean, it keeps life interesting, doesn't it? If it was all easy all the time, we'd get pretty bored pretty fast. But sometimes we don't feel like the bumps in the moment often. Because the property that you're coming up to settle shortly is a pretty amazing one in Canberra. And Canberra, there's a massive undersupply of rental at the moment. So we've seen rents pushing pretty hard through the roof. Plus, this apartment was extremely well priced when it went to market. So I think you've also had the ability to create some capital growth during your off the plan, I understand. So I think it was, when were we talking? And Sam had mentioned, was it in the Facebook group? I think that he mentioned the 100 grand and
Yeah. And
yeah.
I think he's pretty well like on the money, like to be safe with it. But there was vacancy rates as low as 0%. And
Wow.
I think they're only sitting at 0.4% now. Like there's literally like 7 properties on realestate.com, like under, $575. Like it's ridiculous. The rents are just ridiculous. Yeah. Oh, just in Greenway where Black Diamond's actually.
Greenway. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, there's literally no stock, critical supply. So
yeah, that's crazy. And I mean, you do feel for people, but obviously I'm not sure what the answer is in that space. Sam will have some ideas, I'm sure. He always likes to wax lyrical on his podcasts. And then when, of course, it comes to timing in the market, some very wise advice I think you've had from your brother about, not trying to just time something and sell it too quickly. And I think this is very sage advice. Tell me a little bit about that.
So he always said there's timing in the market and then there's time in the market. And obviously something I think Prey as a group mention all the time is a lot of people sell at that 6-7 year mark when things shift and they don't like the way it looks or whatever the property's doing for them at the time. But I think the biggest key is just be patient and get that grit and keep the wheels moving, and eventually they'll probably roll in your favor.
It's true. Yeah. It's like I had and some people will be so sick of hearing these stories about my Bateman's Bay properties, but
oh no.
I had to roll them out again and again, but they're useful because they illustrate a purpose, right? And have you heard me talk about them?
I haven't. I think my brother mentioned it, and I was like, it was like an eye cringe moment. Yeah. So I think
it wasn't great. Wasn't great at all. But the Bateman's Bay ones, I bought them when the market was superheated. So you couldn't afford to buy. This is well before the GFC. This is God knows how many years ago now, probably 20 years ago. And the interest rates were up around 8-9%, particularly for me as a low doc borrower. I was investing full time, so I wasn't actually earning an income. So I was what was called a low doc borrower. And I'd write down on a bit of paper, what my income was projected to be. It wasn't what it was projected to be for the year. And then we'd get lending based on that. And so I ended up in often regional towns doing deals where I could get big discounts and I could recycle money and get equity out and get them revalued and all of that kind of stuff. But the problem with buying in a discount market is the market is depressed, right? You don't get a discount in a hot, or you very seldom get a discount in a hot market. So then I had to wait for the market to recover. And because it was regional, it took a long time. And so where a capital city might see, up to 10 years, maybe 12 years max really for a market to do its cycle, Bateman's Bay was, I don't know, a good 15 years before it did anything. And I can tell you, it sat there for the first 7 years. I think it probably went backwards. And I'd made some equity. So I had buffers there. I'd made a profit, but then it just sort of ate away at it for a bit, holding the bloody thing. And then it probably went up like 100 grand or something, and then sat there again until 12 years. And then it started eking up slowly. Then the fires came through. So do you remember the fires in Bateman's Bay? Yeah. So I had those fires. I had 2 townhouses next to each other. The fires got within 100 meters of those townhouses. I had my poor tenants out on the beach. Like, it was horrendous. And I said to Finn, geez, I hope we're freaking insured, because you know what it's like when you teach something and then you're the worst person to actually take your own advice. And I was thinking,
Oh yeah.
like, Vin's great at doing all of that stuff. He's the backstop and the safety net. I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I wrote, I'd sent the bill in or something. And it turned, we were insured. It was fine, probably underinsured. But I remember thinking, well, if it goes down, I'm going to learn a lesson. Didn't go down, was totally fine. And then after that, probably bang on the sort of 13-year mark, they just went completely off. Doubled plus in value like that in 2 years. But I have seen that pattern again and again and again and again. Not always 15 years or 13 years, often only 7 years or 8 years or 10 years, but where it does nothing and then it goes nuts. And you're absolutely right when you say time in the market, because so many people, and RP data actually have stats and diagrams on it, so many people sell around that 6 to 8 years because they get fed up with a property that has done nothing. They sell it, they incur all the costs and taxes, and then they take that money and they either put it in the share market, or they go and buy another property and go through stamp duty and freaking that whole 7-year cycle all over again. And I think that's what I would love if I could teach people one thing, which is why I'm honing on this, is just hold exactly what Jason says. Buy well, never sell unless it's strategically.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you in 15 years, honestly, you guys will be miles from where you are today. If you're starting with 4, do you have a goal? Do you have an end goal? Doesn't have to be monetary. Do you have a?
I think just to live comfortably, and like I guess to throw a number at that would be like 150K a year, like just each per person, and then have obviously a pretty healthy super fund as well, and I think that would be a good start. But yeah, perfect. I should really hone down on my goals and
make sure you do.
Yeah.
I'll talk to your coach, Mr. Jason Wicken. That's all right, I'm not going to. Well, I might make him watch this. And Brunswick West, tell me a little bit about that.
Oh yeah. So I guess after I bought my PPR, a few years went past. I was pretty comfortable with where I was at, paying off the debt. Was pretty uneducated, I guess, about investing in property.
Yeah.
I just started thinking, maybe I could Airbnb out my place, and while I'm, FIFO, fly in, fly out. And I ended up just jumping into a webinar with Jason, and it was literally 2 months later, jumped into the Brunswick West deal in Melbourne. And at the time, to throw money at it, to throw a figure at it, when I first originally saw Jason, I had $24,000 and the tiniest bit of equity in my offset account, which was attached to my PPR at the time. And I just didn't know that I was even close to being ready. And within 2 months' time, Jason's like, yeah, we got this discount deal. Her and Haley basically walked me through this deal. And so basically how it worked was I put down 5%. So I put down $25,000, and then the developer matched that. And then they also gave me a rebate as well. So it was just perfect for my scenario, I guess, to get me into the market and get some money working for me. And obviously Melbourne's taken a bit of a beating the last couple of years, but I got it's pretty
awesome.
happy.
Yeah. I've got Melbourne clients that bought in there. It was certainly no challenges with people. And I always like it when a local is interested, because they can go see, touch, feel, and you know, it's just because there is a discount in it doesn't mean that it's you know, something that's tarnished in some way. It was an absolutely cracker deal, and it's rebounded so fast and will continue to do so, because what you're seeing in Melbourne at the moment is this massive gap. Have you heard Sam talk about the gap between apartments and houses at the moment? So houses have shot through the roof, obviously with the demand from COVID. That's nationwide, it's a given. And then as we're seeing people begin to return back to the workforce, come back into the city, be asked to come into offices once again, you know, at least part-time, then suddenly living, you know, miles away or having a massive house is becoming less and less of a requirement again. And then as rents start to get more expensive, then people look at alternative types of accommodation. And so we're expecting to see apartments in the next sort of 12 to 24 months really get their skates on once the uncertainty with this interest rate stuff settles down a little bit. They usually overshoot and then correct. So we're expecting to see apartments really kick off, which will be amazing. Did you get a 2-bedder or 1-bedder?
Just 1 bedroom.
One better. Yep.
Yeah. But it's actually, it was a 1-bedroom study. And then they actually had a deal within the contract to convert the study with the frosted glass. Yeah. So, I think that adds value to the person, even the person just, you know, who's going to be renting there. Like it's obviously functional for them. So. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you know, right? You live in a 1-bedroom apartment at the moment. That was a choice that you made. My daughter's the same. She's got a fantastic 1-bedroom apartment in St Kilda, and she loves it. And like your place in Brunswick, it has a study, like a proper dedicated study area, and it's got a large balcony, which gives it livability and fantastic light. So you just need a couple of things in your favour. And people will always choose the better design, regardless of, you know, where they're starting out from, whether it's 1-bedder, 2-bedder, and so forth. I've got a 1-bedder in my super in Brunswick. Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, we'd been slack putting much cash into our super for many years. Back in the day when you couldn't buy property, you know, what did you do? I just thought it was wasted money. And then all of a sudden you could buy property in it. So we started hoofing.
Yeah, it's actually amazing. Like the power of leverage, I guess, with real estate is like nothing else can do that. Like where can you use like 100 grand and borrow another 600 and use that as leverage? It's incredible.
It's pretty good. It's and then everything that is great about super. I mean, I'm not licensed to talk about it. We won't talk about it too much today. I can certainly tell you that I've got a 1-bedder in my super that has been an absolute cracker. Alrighty, and so I've got a wee note here that. What was your biggest experience or your biggest learning? And you've got a note here that you came out of a stressful situation when you had trouble with evaluation, with Jason helping you alongside that. So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah. So when it come time to settle on the Brunswick West property, I didn't have a lot of capital at the time, and sort of needed the valuation to come in on the money, or, you know, fluctuate roughly, you know, the 5% either way sort of thing. And it ended up coming in about 120k less on the first valuation. 120k. So the purchase price was 500, and it come in at 380. And this is the night before I was going back to work. So I was like, oh no. And then, so we had multiple valuations getting done. The second one come in at 390. And I was like, oh, the third one come in at 480k, but an 80% LVR. So still like I would have had to come up with like 100k. Yeah, and like I just remember when Jason used to do like his real life webinars and stuff. Like I went to the Glades golf course, and he's just like, "You're right, mate." Just patted me on the back. He's like, "Don't worry, we'll beat around the developers a bit," and and then just I felt a lot better just after that conversation that night, and then just the next time, just come in 500K like on the money, like so.
It's so bizarre, isn't it? And I think this is what really frustrates the internal team, right? Because you have 4 valuers. We don't get to choose them. The developer doesn't get to choose them. All of that stuff from the good old days of, you pick your valuer to get a valuation through. That's all gone. Like it's all Valex now. It's like it's like pulling a pinwheel, pulling the pokies, and the drums roll and whoever your valuer is. And so to have valuers that are saying 380 and some that are saying 500, how do they get it so bloody wrong?
I know. Yeah.
I mean, this is a developer that has worked with developing for a lifetime. He's a career developer that has multiple projects going on. And those developers, they know how to value and how to price their units, to work with the valuers, to make sure that people can get lending, to make sure they make profit, because that's important, and to make sure everyone wins. And I know that this particular developer is very keen for both parties to win, because then he gets a loyal following of people that want to buy his property, right? And so then you have a valuer that comes up with 120K. And like, if you were to do the maths, right? So you bought it for it was $499, wasn't it? 500, $499?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. And then minus the discount, like, so it was realistically, it was a no money down deal. So it was $450, but purchase price was still $499. Yeah.
Okay. So the purchase price was $499. And then we go, well, can you remember how many square meters it was?
I think it was still just around the 60, like just you stand. Yeah.
Massive 60. You can get 2-bedders for 60.
Yeah.
In Melbourne.
Yeah.
For sure. Smaller. You can get 2-bedders for 58 square meters. 55 even. Like, it's nuts, right? So you've got a 1-bedroom apartment for 60 square meters, and that's internal, is it not external?
That's both. I'm pretty sure it's both. Yeah.
Wonder what let's say 55, right? So let's say 499 divided by 55 is around 9,000 a square meter, is what you were paying on paper, right? And so 9,000 a square meter is still a relatively cost-effective price per square meter to buy an apartment. Yeah, if you were to buy an ARIA, you'd be looking at 13, 15, I don't know, depending on which one you bought, right, per square meter. So then if you go, well, okay, at 380 that the valuer reckons it's at, divided by 55 square meters, you're looking at 6,000 a square meter.
Yeah.
Like, no one prices property at that. Like, how do you I get a bugbear in my, whatever it is with valuers when they do this stuff. It's really frustrating, because you think if you'd put down your deposit and Positive Real Estate couldn't assist you in getting your finance or getting you out of it, like, and your average Joe on the street will lose a deposit on that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
because someone's having a bad day.
Yeah.
Yeah, annoys me. Anyway, that's my rant. It's my turn to do Jason's coffee rant today.
Yeah.
But, so congratulations on some awesome purchases for both of you. 4 properties behind you at 30 is pretty damn special. So congratulations, amazing work. And so last tips, if you could give young Joel, advice. You were walking down the street and you bumped into 18, 20-year-old Joel. What would you say?
I'd just say get yourself a good team and surround yourself with like-minded people. They'll push you in the right direction instead of dragging you down. And just get yourself a good team, and they'll help you out.
Awesome. Wise words, sage words. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for today, Joel. Thank you for sharing and listening to me ranting on like a lunatic. Much appreciated. I must have picked it up from Jason over the last 15 years or whatever else we've been hanging out. Well, much appreciated, my friend. And we'll see you around the traps. Hope to see you in person soon in Queensland.
Yeah, likewise. Thanks, Tab.
See you, darling.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey, thanks for listening to Property Investor Tales. Remember to subscribe so you get notified every time a new episode drops. As you can guess, I love hearing people's property investor tales. So if you'd like to share yours, then please get in touch with me via email at propertyinvestortales@positivementor.com.au. We would also love your feedback, and I would appreciate a 5-star review over on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Remember, you can watch all of these podcasts over on YouTube at Positive Mentor or at positivementor.com.au. Until then, take care, happy investing, and